Hey, everybody, you found us. This is the All Meat, Hold the Anchovies podcast.
Okay, David. The problem with me being irritated
You know, I love you when you're irritated.
is that you like it when I'm irritated.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all right. So, okay. So, a little rough evening. Won't go on all the details since my wife can hear me.
Hey, I told you ever since the beanbag, it's not going to be pretty.
But just suffice it to say that I thought maybe our iCloud account had been hacked.
Oh.
And it hadn't. Not by anyone I don't know, other than my wife and her VBS helper.
Oh. Does the VBS helper have the password? Or did you just change it?
I changed it back. Well, but I couldn't change it back to the one I've been using for the last 20 years, which is a really good, complicated password that I have in my head like that.
Yeah.
Because I've used it within the last year. So now I've had to change it, and it's even more complicated. So Connie's going to hate it even more. But anyway, all is good. Oh, so then I get in here because you finally convinced me to podcast, even though I said I don't want to.
Tough.
So then I get in here, and my computer has no battery. So I go get the adapter for the power source.
Yes.
It's about 6 inches too short to go to where I sit the computer for us to have our conversation. So I have to go try to find an extension cord. So I'm very patiently and calmly walking around the house, finding an extension cord. I found the extension cord. I plugged it in. I come over here and I sit down. I look over, and my mixer that I run all our audio through is not, there's no power adapter into it. It's gone. The reason why is because when I send Rosie, our Roomba, to vacuum, I always disconnect the power cord and put it up because it's like going across the floor to the other side of the room.
Yeah.
Right. And so I have to get up from my seat that, as you know, is 10 inches from the ground because my chair broke. And I have to go over there and I have to find it. And then, of course, when you grab the cord in the adapter, it's a big old block in the middle of it. It all gets tangled up and it falls. And
having a good night, huh?
I am now.
Good.
No, I mean, Connie was she was in a situation where she had to do something like right then. And it was a little confusing because she was subscribing to YouTube Premium, and what she didn't, because she needed it for like VBS videos stuff, so you don't have to watch the commercials in YouTube. And she didn't realize that she was actually subscribing through iTunes or through our iTunes account. She thought she was doing it. She thought she was just subscribing, and so she went through all this stuff and changed the password to her password that she likes to use. Well, what she did was she gave it to her helper who was on the computer or on her phone or something. I really don't know. And somehow, I don't know. But
yeah, Terry, I tell her every like third month, and she keeps saying, why do we have all these Apple iTunes bills? All these Apple, why is everything coming on Apple? I thought we had Paramount. I thought we had Peacock. I said, we do, but it's all through my Apple ID account. So I said, the best thing about that is I can cancel them all from one page, which I actually did. I canceled 3 subscriptions this week.
Oh, yeah?
Because
is that why I couldn't watch Paramount, ESPN Plus? No, I'm just kidding.
You sold that well with your face. That was good.
You're like totally messing with my entertainment life.
Now, Paramount, I did cancel that one. I didn't think so. And I forgot that Bailey has Hulu with commercials, but we wanted to watch 8 seasons of Homeland without commercials. So I got one for me. It was upgraded, and more than actually I thought it was. So I canceled that one. So now we'll just use hers and watch commercials. And Peacock, because soccer's done. And that's the only reason I was watching Peacock was for soccer. But I really want to get Paramount back because that's got all the Star Trek stuff on it. I want to get back to watching Star Trek.
Have you been watching the Obi-Wan show?
Oh, yes, on Disney.
Oh, man, it's like watching a movie every single week.
It's exactly what I said the first episode. That this feels like a movie.
I mean, it really does.
Yes. There was a few. Did you watch the latest episode?
Mm-hmm.
There was a few points where I was like, how did that happen? Or how did they get there? And
my thought was, you know exactly where that freighter ship is going.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally could have gotten in a ship and followed it. That was a tough one for me to get past. I mean, okay, it wasn't tough to get past, but it was glaring. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say it's annoying, but it takes away some of the enjoyment.
Well, ours was the tunnels. There was some quick movement through those tunnels in different directions that didn't seem to should have happened.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm really surprised they gave us, and I'm trying not to spoil anything, but I'm really surprised they gave us such a big encounter in the third episode. So there's going to be another one.
Oh my goodness, I know. Oh, and there's another really weird, really? That person A could have easily gotten to person B with certain powers.
Yes.
And instead it was like, well, crud, I can't get to him now. I guess I'll turn around and leave.
Exactly. I'll save it for a time when I can actually see him die.
Yes.
I don't have to look.
He wasn't even going to kill him. He was going to torture him.
Exactly. I know, and that was actually good. I appreciated that story arc of it.
Although somehow he came out with no scars on his face.
Interestingly enough. But I'm surprised it didn't turn his hair white. That would have solved the whole gray hair thing coming out of it.
Yeah. Another thing, that is it Hans Christensen? Is that his name?
Hayden Christensen.
Hayden Christensen. Who in the world is Hans Christensen?
Han Solo, yeah.
Han Solo, yeah, that's it. Hayden, I think I saw him interviewed or something, and he said, and correct me if I'm wrong, that he was like, no, I want to be the one in the suit.
Yes.
So he's the one in the suit.
Yes, and he appreciates the opportunity. He even said to make this better than the last outings that he had. I guess he finally understands that he was not good in the last few.
And Connie and I were sitting there going, why do they even need him? Because we're never going to see him. And then
saw him at the end of 2, right?
Probably.
So you might want to
episode 2 and 3.
You might want to title this episode of the podcast "A Few Spoilers About Obi-Wan."
Well, we're not saying who we saw. Oh, I guess we are kind of.
I guess we are now.
But you know what was awesome though?
What?
So we're watching it, and Darth Vader speaks.
We're going to talk about it. Yeah, let's talk about it now.
Just a little bit. Darth Vader speaks, and I went, that sounds exactly like James Earl Jones. How did they do that? Right? And I was like, because he's like 100, right? So how in the world? And I thought that can't be James Earl Jones because there's no way James Earl Jones sounds exactly like he did before. So I looked it up. They got him to do it again.
Yes, I was going to tell you that. Yeah.
Do you realize how much money he could ask them for? It's like, I'm sorry, you want me to do what? Oh, good. I need that private island out there in the Bahamas.
and let's see. He survives until New Hope. So that'll get season 1, season 2. No kidding. We realized that we love robots that don't talk. We like that in this episode.
Yeah.
That was a really cool robot. I appreciated that. But it's also, Davis pointed out, this is why Leia is so friendly to droids later on, because she's all about droids, from the little droid to the older droids. Like, why you talk to your droids? Well, yeah, it makes them feel more human. She's very compassionate or empathetic to droids.
There were several times when I went, oh, that's cool, because that's exactly what Leia would say later on.
Yeah.
Her personality was all over that little girl.
I loved early on when she said, I don't want to be in the Senate. They wear itchy clothes and don't do anything. And Jimmy Smits is like, well, that's what makes you perfect to be in the Senate, is that you don't want to be in the Senate. That was a great point. But we're enjoying it. A few little plot holes that we're like getting past because it's almost like you can forgive everything in these plot holes because there's more to come. For the movies down the road. But no, we're enjoying it immensely. In fact, something else starts soon. I'm trying to remember what it is.
Man,
but Saul comes back in July, right?
Did you finish it yet?
Oh yeah.
Did you see that explosive ending?
Yes, and then I saw some of the interview after. He was actually on the Talking Saul episode. I just happened to catch a few minutes of it. But speaking of that,
was it a good interview?
Yeah, it was good. It was good because nobody knew but him. And the showrunners.
Nobody knew but him.
None of the actors knew because they hadn't gotten that far in the script. It's like they were given dailies. They weren't given the whole script. So they didn't know their time with him was coming to an end. Oh. And and Kim and Saul and the character we're talking about all shared a house for years while they were filming. Yeah. It was just easier. They all shared like this dorm place, like this one house where they all lived in it in different rooms. But that's how close they got. They were like family to each other. And then to realize it was about to end, that was just like, crazy. But anyway, so Davis and I.
Oh, wait. Did he say when he had the heart attack yet? Like which scene it was?
No.
It must be the second half then.
He didn't talk as much because it was mostly about the other character.
Oh, okay.
He did the most talking, him and the showrunner. But so Davis and I, we were home waiting for Terry, and it was Granny's night to make dinner, which she did. So I said, hey, you want to go watch a bad episode? And he said, of course. So we got through 2 Breaking Bad episodes, and we got to the episode where Hank is zeroing in on the RV.
Oh.
And Jesse's not leaving the house, so he's watching the house, and Walter knows about it. And all of a sudden, they do the roundabout trying to get rid of – Walter's going to get rid of the RV because he knew where it was. And then Badger. Davis is like, no, don't call Jesse. It's so funny. It's like he says it's like dominoes going in different directions. They just collapse each other all over the place.
Oh, how fun would it be to watch it with someone who hasn't seen it before?
It's amazingly fun. And he is so absorbing all the greatness of the writing of this show. Yeah. It is so good. So good.
I'm on the last season. And it's like it's a completely different show the last season.
I think season 3 is the best season. The one we're watching right now, because she finds out and they're really playing chess, Walton, and Skylar. Yeah. And Hank is getting closer. And Hank's partner takes the job in El Paso because Hank just couldn't. He was obsessed. And even Terry was asking, why didn't he call him for backup? Why is he by himself? And Davis is like, he's obsessed. He is so obsessed with solving this crime, and it's just a thing for him. And of course, at the end of the episode was the Chicken Man telling the twins, Walt's not the one you want. Here's the name of the one you want.
Yeah. Oh. So that next scene hasn't happened yet.
No, and I could have sworn the twins never spoke. This is the only episode I remember them speaking in. Just in this episode, they spoke in the chicken place, and they spoke when they're talking to Gus.
Yeah.
Gus. That's his name. Yeah, Gus.
So they didn't speak in any other episodes coming up.
Not yet. Not that I've seen. But I was so tempted to tell Davis.
How would they, Dave? They're dead.
Anyway, I don't remember when they go. I don't remember when they go. But anyway.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot.
Thanks for the spoiler inside the podcast where we're spoiling.
Oh, yeah.
But I so want to tell Davis because now we've seen the meth factory. We've seen where Gus built this just for Walt, and he's got that other lab teacher down there. And I want to tell Davis, dude, in Better Call Saul, you see the building of this lab. It is so chilling to know that that's going on in Better Call Saul. It is so cool.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing.
So the next episode is.
Next episode is like
they go
7.
After Hank.
I would presume so. Yeah. See, the only thing I remember about the twins specifically was them in a shopping center. And now that I know they're going after Hank, it was Hank they were looking at in the shopping center. They were like in a parking lot of a shopping center. I just remember that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these people have no idea how close they are to not making it. Oh my gosh. We did see the Native American sheriff go to that lady's house where they were staying. And one of them comes out with a peach and the guy's got his gun on him from behind his truck, and he's saying, "Get on your knees, put your hands up." And one of the twins is just standing there, and then he just turns around like he's going back inside because the other one's coming up with an axe behind the guy.
Oh yeah,
Gosh,
that was rough.
That was rough.
It's like my empathy kicks in, and I'm like, that poor sheriff.
I know. There's a ton of innocent people in this series. Speaking of, that was rough. We finally showed Davis Top Gun last night, the first one.
Oh yeah.
He was so over. Take my breath away.
Oh gosh, I know.
And I said, you know what? After the third scene of them trying to be a couple, I'm like, this really kind of takes away from the movie.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work. It's she's too old, too tall. He's too young, too immature. But it's like, what does she see? But I looked them up, and they're like 5 years apart and probably about 6 inches apart. But otherwise, you could see. It's so funny because even Terry was laughing and pointing out where he was sitting higher than her.
Yeah.
In their kissing scenes, and they don't kiss very well. Besides that, but
really,
that's terrible.
Connie watched it the other night, and I didn't even watch it.
I mean, the flying scenes are good. I understand the camaraderie, but it's almost like that took away from it. So,
well,
but I did read.
I'm gonna go see the. Go ahead.
No, we're hoping to go this week too. We're hoping to go. Take
I'm going tomorrow night in the Mega D.
Nice.
Like the really huge.
Yeah.
Mega.
I didn't know that was Meg Ryan's first big role. In fact, that was the.
Oh yeah, I saw her as I was walking through the. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And it's funny because the other thing I read was.
Well, it wasn't that big of a role, but. Yeah.
No, but that was like her first role, and they said out of all the guys that played pilots, only one of them didn't throw up when they took him up in the planes because they all had to ride in the back seat, and all of them threw up except for Goose. And they said he's probably the only one that could have been a pilot, even though he's the one that didn't take his profession seriously in the show. But I thought that was kind of neat.
I bet Tom Cruise doesn't get sick anymore.
Yeah, really. All right, so I got two more quick things.
Oh, well, let me tell you. Oh, yeah, I already told you.
About Top Gun. About
okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the original Viper, there was an actual Viper in real life who that guy was based off of. Tom Skerritt's character was based off of. He was a guy, you may never see this because if you didn't watch it with Connie, but the first time Tom Cruise tries to pick up Kelly McGillis, she brushes him off, and she goes and sits in a booth with an older guy with white hair. And just for the scene, no lines for him or anything.
Oh, and that's him?
He's the original Viper. So they got him a cameo in the movie, which is pretty cool. Now,
was Viper the antagonist?
He was the boss. Tom Skerritt.
Oh, he was the boss. Okay.
The lead guy, yeah. So I was just reading, as we're getting online, that the guy that wrote the article called Top Guns, which was what the first movie was based off of, he's passed, and the rights to his story went to his family. But Paramount purchased the rights for the movie and owned it until 2020, which the movie was supposed to come out in 2020. But the movie didn't come out till 2022. And the family claims that they were still filming in 2021, which is after their ownership to the rights expired. So that family is suing Paramount for making a sequel off the rights of the first movie, and that it's
for what purpose? Because
they don't own the rights.
Have a lot of money.
I guess they don't own the rights. Paramount doesn't own the rights to the Top Guns article anymore, and Paramount saying, "Well, we didn't base this movie off that article." I'm like, "Yeah, but you based this movie off the first movie, which was based off the article." So it kind of goes together, but it's COVID, knocked it back a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting that the family of the guy that wrote the original story that the movie was based off is now suing Paramount. Of course, they made 160 million last weekend, so that might be a little part of it too.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Me and Connie and two of our friends are going.
Nice.
Should be fun.
Mm-hmm. Fun for the whole famay.
By the way,
did you know the first one was PG? Oh my gosh, it had so much language in it. It was PG.
Was it?
Yes. That's it. I'm done.
Last episode that y'all have hopefully listened to did not have about 15 minutes of David and I talking. Probably, of the stuff that we recorded. because we were at, I think, 55 minutes when we got off. So I guess 10 minutes. So I've taken those 10 minutes and I'm going to put them in this episode. So what you're about to hear, not you, David, but, the people, because you won't ever listen to it because you were there. Right. What you're about to hear, we actually recorded last week. So, yeah. So, like, we referenced the PS5 talk that was the week before. So, anyway, here we go. This is the conversation David and I had after the last episode.
Bless her heart. So, I don't want to stop you. I know we're at 45, but I don't care. I got a couple things I want to tell you.
Ooh.
Either that or we wait till, I guess I could wait. Okay, I'm just going to tell you. The other night, we're sitting watching TV, and I don't remember what we're watching, but I'm sitting on the love seat, which is to the side, and Connie's directly in front of the TV on the couch because she's doing work. She's working on stuff. So it's kind of, cluttered around her, and I'm over there on the love seat. So I'm right at the moment that something happens on the TV, as in I think someone's about to shoot somebody or something, right? Connie yells, "Oh my gosh," or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Just screams it. So I'm looking at the TV going, what? Well, it wasn't on the TV. I'm like, what? So she yells again. So I look and I don't see anything, but she's looking like into space. Like she's not looking at that book and she's not looking at that. She's looking at something in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because there's a spider hanging in front of her.
Oh my gosh.
The ceiling. I don't see this spider, right? But luckily, Connie was able to compose herself enough to say the word spider. So I went over there and I, lucky for me, saw the spider and grabbed it and killed it. But how funny was it that I thought it was something on TV? I was like, what? It's not that big of a deal. He's just walking.
What? What did you see? What did I miss? What did I miss?
What? What did I miss? And she's like, there's a spider. And you didn't react quickly enough. What? I didn't know what it was. I don't know. But no, that's kind of freaky if you're sitting there and a spider goes down like this in front of you.
That's happened in my car.
So if my child had not been here this weekend, Connie may have thrown me in front of a bus.
You sure you
not
want to tell
to
this
truly
now?
Kill me, but let me just tell you what happened. So Joshua and I are playing cornhole in the backyard.
Yes, we did that too this weekend. Cool.
And my cornhole bags are made of real corn, and they're pretty heavy. Okay, they're nice. They have a good feel in your hand, right? So we're throwing to the board, and the board, our boards are lined up parallel to the flower bed, right?
Okay.
Parallel to the flower bed, not perpendicular, but parallel. And Connie happens to be on the other end, the direction we're throwing, and she is leaning forward at a full 90-degree angle, picking something like picking a weed or something. So her back is flat.
Oh, my goodness.
And I thought, well, this will be fun.
How close was she to the board?
She was like right next to the board.
Oh, my.
But I didn't aim for the board. I aimed for her back. And David, I have never been more accurate in my life. The bag had this arching throw, and it landed flat, boom, right in between her shoulder blades. We heard it, and it hurt.
Yeah, because of gravity and the height and everything else behind it.
Apparently it hurt because she looked at me like, I don't think this is funny. And I was trying not to laugh because I thought it was funny, but it was not. I was like, well, you have to admit, Connie, it was a pretty awesome shot. She's like, no, I don't have to admit that. No.
You're right. I'm surprised we're doing this podcast tonight.
Yeah. My son saved me.
Oh, did he?
Well, just the fact that he was there.
There would have been a
What
witness.
would have happened?
That's true.
She did have like garden tools. What if she had decided, hey, Dwaine, why don't you lean over and I'll throw this garden tool
Let me throw this shovel
and see how it feels when it lands on your back. So then Joshua decided to show me what it would feel like. So I leaned over and he just kind of dropped it from like 3 feet.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this did not feel good.
Yeah, hers was probably 5 times harder.
Oh,
She felt. Oh my gosh, you're right. You're lucky to be alive.
Honey, how's your back? There's a purple bruise? No, you got me. You got me. I thought she was serious.
Maybe you shouldn't turn your back on her for a while.
I'm not. I'm going to be very careful. All right. Last thing I have is a word of advice at 50 minutes. Don't put things where you normally don't put things. Thinking that you'll be able to find these things, because you will not be able to find them. Just a final word of wisdom. I'll put these right here and I'll remember I put them there.
Said by me 72 times.
Oh my goodness. It's like, where are my keys? I always put them in the same place. Except for this one time when I didn't, and I thought, I'll remember I put them there. And that happens with everything.
That happens for me with the special screws that went with this one device. These separate screws, put them in a Ziploc and put them on this side of the shelf. I'll remember in this little cubby on the shelf. Years later, I've had to buy new screws.
Yes.
And then I find screws.
Or the USB blocks, right? They're always plugged in right there, wherever that right there is. And you need it in another part of the house. So
just for one time.
Just one time. You take it there, you plug it in, and then when you're done, you pull your cord and you think, I'll put that up later. A year later, you find it.
After you've bought 3 more.
Yeah. I mean, how many USB blocks are there underneath couches in this world?
Are there more USB blocks? Or are there more lost screws around the house?
I don't remember what it was the other day that this happened with, but I was like, why did I not just put this where I always put it? And sometimes it's just like, I don't want to take those extra 15 steps to go walk and put it there. I'm just going to set it down.
Because you've had enough steps for today. You've met your quota.
I've had my quota of steps. So anyway, those were the things that I wanted to make sure I brought up today. So,
nice.
If you want to go to... Okay, so there you go, David. That's
Brilliant.
What we talked about.
Great conversation.
It really was. I mean, and I didn't leave a long enough break, so I'm going to have to really try to find where I did this.
I did that on purpose.
No, I probably did have a long enough break. You didn't do anything on purpose. I'm the one that spoke again.
I know.
Anyway, so... I started well, y'all don't care about this. I started a new phase in my workout program, and it's really
this
rough.
Next segment will be in the middle of next week's podcast.
And it was really rough. That's all I'm going to say. I'm done. All right. What time did you get up this morning?
The first time at about 4:40.
What time did you get out of bed?
About 4:50.
4:30 for me.
Good for you.
Because I had to be at work at 7. Because so we're doing VBS this week. So the rally starts at 8:10, and so I rehearse with my drama team and the musicians, which I'm calling the VBS dancers. It's great. No one gets it but me and a couple other people.
You should call them the solid gold dancers. They won't get that either. That's
what it was based off of. The VBS dancers, solid gold dancers. I'm so glad you're my friend. Anyway, so I had a rehearsal at 7:30. Well, I want to be there by 7, just so that
I know when 7:30 comes, number one, I'm there, and number two, everything's ready to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to the gym. I think I started my workout at like 5:05 in the morning, and went till 6:15, something like that, and then got to work at 6:45. So
you do know that technically you did not get up before me.
Oh, yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
No, okay. In the actual timeline of life, in actual moments, that is correct. You were up before me.
I was having breakfast when you were starting your workout.
But on the timeline that I'm living in,
Mm-hmm.
compared to the timeline that you are living in, I got up earlier than you.
So in your verse of the multiverse versus
Yes.
my verse of the multiverse,
I'm actually speaking to you in the future. You
Yes.
are in the future right now, and you are talking to me, who's in the past, based on our multi-line of
okay.
life.
So this is the slight spoilers for Obi-Wan and the multiverse of podcasting.
What I want to know is, I'm trying to think if there's anything going to happen in the next 30 minutes that you could tell me what will happen since you're ahead of me by 30 minutes. Oh, are we going to finish on time? You should know that because you're an hour ahead of me.
Well, I'm not there yet.
Oh, this blows my mind. Oh man, wouldn't it be cool though to be able to drop into another time and drop back here? Be kind of cool.
There's always that butterfly effect, though. You can't talk to anybody. You can't see anyone, especially yourself. Can you imagine if you could see yourself for just 30 seconds?
What? I don't.
Just to tell
why would I want to?
Tell your past self what to avoid for the next 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months.
Or like that song says, that date. Oh, see, what was it? If I could tell. Oh, what is it?
A letter to myself or something?
Yeah, a letter to me. And he goes, about that date, he goes, on second thought, that one turned out pretty good. I think it was like, be sure to fill up with gas. And he goes, on second thought, forget that. It turned out pretty good.
Running out of gas worked out pretty good.
Yeah. If I could write a letter to me. Gosh, I don't know the melody, so.
I don't either. It sounds like a country song.
You know, another great country song is In Color. So it's this guy, and he's with his granddad, and or his great granddad, and he's looking at old black and white pictures, right? And his granddad's telling him what it was. So like one of them was he was in the foxhole with his buddy, right? He goes, if it looks like we were scared to death, like a couple of kids just trying to save each other, you should have seen it in color.
Oh, wow.
What a great. And then he talks about this one here's my favorite one, or something like that. And it's he and his wife getting married. And it's like, you can't see it here, but her hair was red or whatever, and it's just like, it seems like we were scared today, just a couple of kids just trying to save each other. Now, there's another country song that I like right now, and those two are very old, by the way.
Yes.
This one is talk about something. I'm gonna look it up. Tell like some old country song you know of that you.
Well, I remember what got me into country music. In fact, it was around 90, around the time Terry and I got married, that we had this young guy come into the pool shop where I was working, and we didn't really play music a whole lot. And he asked if he could just play some music because it was quiet at times. And he started playing Randy Travis and Dwight Yoakam.
Oh yeah.
And it took about 3 songs, and I was hooked on each one. Wow. And so I went and bought their cassettes at the time. And I probably bought all of them, and I still like them both a whole lot. I know. And then I ventured into a few other country people for about 6-7 years, and then I lost country. I don't know how I lost country.
Yeah. See, I wasn't really a country guy until I started dating this girl that really liked country music. So basically, sixth grade was 1980. So I'm an 80s kid, and I graduated in 87, and then in late 87 I started dating this girl who liked country music. So any music in the 80s past about 88 that's pop, I don't know very well, but I know the country music. Where is this thing?
Well, I'm trying to think of what the song was. When I worked in the 90s, working for the same company, I was partnered with this guy who was a African American guy. And what we did, it was so funny because we're both named Jones. And when we check into the front desk of these places we were going to run cable or install stuff, we'd give our names. And then whoever said it second would say, we're not related, just to make a joke out of it, our skin color. But anyway, he and I agreed to take turns. One day was my music. One day was his music. And we'd listen to different styles of music. Well, after about a month or two, we became really good friends. After about a month or two, he and his girlfriend are in the record store back when they had record stores.
Yeah.
And Alan Jackson was playing on the overhead speakers, and he started singing the song because he knew the Alan Jackson song. And his girlfriend, he said, she started walking away from me. She didn't want to stand next to me.
Really?
I thought that was so funny. She's like, wow. What are you singing? He said, oh, no, am I singing that?
That's funny.
That was great.
All right, this is the one I like. It's called Longer Than She Did. Oh, how's it go? Okay, hold on. I got a feeling that this broken heart of mine is gonna stay with me longer than she did. Isn't that cool?
That's cool.
I love it.
We did
have. There's another song. Oh, go ahead.
If I find that one, I'll tell you that Terry and I did have a song, a country song that I would always sing to her, and she just listened. After all, she said, "This is your dad's song that he sings to me." It was Sammy Kershaw, and it's "She Don't Know She's Beautiful." Oh. Never crossed her mind.
Golly, man.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Those are good ones.
And she actually still listens to country if she's not listening to music for work. That's country is what she'll listen to.
Yeah, we're probably going to get tagged on YouTube for this episode. I really like this song. I don't know how I discovered it. It's called "Dancing in the Kitchen."
On YouTube.
Well, our episodes go on my YouTube page too, automatically, an audio version. Anyway, he goes, but we always end up dancing in the kitchen, which I think is a euphemism.
Yeah, for two people dancing in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You've never danced with your wife in the kitchen?
No, I think it's a euphemism for something else. Oh, wait. Are you asking?
So this is that episode where Dwaine explained a euphemism.
I wouldn't admit to that if I had. No. Because my kids listen to this show.
I'm not saying it's what you're saying it is. I'm saying, have you ever not turned on music and danced with your wife in the kitchen?
No, I said it's a euphemism.
And no, you think it is.
No, I guarantee you it is. Well, okay, I can't guarantee it is, but I think it is. And you asked me if I have, and I'm telling you I'm not talking about that on this episode. What are you doing?
Looking it up. How do you spell euphemism?
I'm not going to tell you how to spell euphemism because I'd have to just write it in. Now, okay, if it is a euphemism, it could be one that he made up.
Is that by Laney?
Laney. Sure, we could fly around the world, but we always end up dancing in the kitchen. Call your friend, tell them we're going to be late. Now, in the video, they're dancing in the kitchen, but I still think...
Okay, the title of this Laney song is meant to be taken quite literally.
Oh,
he said no matter where they go, when they go out at night or when they go out places, they always end up at home because that's their favorite place. They'd rather be chilling at home. So, you can take them out to a fine dinner or take them out to a fancy place, but they'd just be happy in their own kitchen dancing with music.
Yeah. I mean, What do you think? Pour another drink, put it on repeat. I could spend 1,000 nights right here inside this room. Swear the only one I want is you, and it doesn't matter what we do. We could have nothing at all, and it's not going forward. And it still feel like nothing's missing. Isn't that awesome?
Or put differently, the title this song is ultimately a metaphor for once again being at home, spending quality time with his sweetheart. But as alluded to earlier, said quality time may well entail the two of them literally dancing in the kitchen.
Well,
yeah. So there you go.
So it's not a euphemism.
So I ask again, have you not ever danced with your wife in the kitchen?
I have danced with my wife in the kitchen.
Thank you.
Non-euphemism way.
Only took 10 minutes to get there. But
well, I mean, Connie, have we ever danced in the kitchen? See? She just looked at me like, right. I know what you're asking.
You too. I don't know if we need to be coming over y'all's house later this summer. Y'all might be a bad influence on us.
Non-euphemism. We have danced in the kitchen. Non-euphemism. Oh, she said she was looking at me like, well, yeah, we've danced in the kitchen.
Okay. So in July, when we're sitting at the table playing cards.
Yeah.
A random thought needs to pop in your head and say, Terry, have you and David ever just danced in the kitchen?
We'll see what she says.
I guarantee you she will literally think that you're literally meaning dancing in the kitchen. And we should be recording that so that we can put it on the podcast.
Oh.
Or then we could cut it if we need to.
You realize that once we get the show started with them on the show, once we get it started, we're not going to get any other words in. They're just going to take over the show.
Yeah, but we'll be covered till October.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the next 10 episodes are
Part
Connie
1
and Terry's conversation.
Connie and Terry, part 7.
Golly. Well, I want to see if there's any other songs I've been listening to. Well, I actually created since I started a new phase in my workout.
Yeah.
It's a really difficult phase. I decided I was going to make a Spotify playlist just like for this new phase, right?
Pump up music phase.
It's got other stuff in it. Let me see what are some of the songs I got in it. Workout phase 2. So I've got.
Did you Google workout songs or something, or how'd you find these songs?
Like over time in Spotify, I hit like on the songs I like, and so I have a liked playlist that Spotify, does, and then I have a playlist that I share with Joshua. I offered it to Nathan, but he said I only listen to Supertramp and Shania Twain, and I said okay. That and Beethoven. So, in fact, he sang in Beethoven's 9th Symphony this past weekend. Beethoven was not there.
Yeah.
So for some reason he couldn't come. Well, you know what, dude? To be honest with you, we are at 40 minutes live.
Right.
And we've got 10 minutes that I added in the middle of it. So we're at 50 minutes, which is now our longest episode. So I'm going to let you go, buddy. You got anything you're doing special tomorrow?
No, I'm starting to prepare for a catering job coming up. So I'm going to start buying different things. I got to buy some pork butts, some Boston butts this week and get them to my smoker so we can, and then we freeze it and then we bring it out and heat it up and heat the bags in hot water and then add our barbecue sauce. Woo.
So you literally freeze your butts off.
We freeze our butts down. Yes. Freeze them off.
I mean, you just literally freeze your butts off. So we're going to record. Well, let's see. Tomorrow night, I'm going to see Top Gun. Wednesday night, I'm going to Touchdown Wings with all the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Connie, did you know Wednesday I'm going to go Touchdown Wings with all the guys? Wednesday night, I'm going to go Touchdown Wing with all the guys. Okay, you know now. All right. And then, by the way, I was telling Connie, I said, that's a staple of this podcast. You are not allowed to leave that couch when I'm recording. Was it last episode or the episode before I opened it up, but you wasn't there? It's like
yeah, 2 or 3 ago. Yeah.
This is rocking my world. This is not right. And then Thursday night is family night, so I'm going to be home late. But late for me isn't as late for you, so maybe Thursday night. All right, man. I'm going to let you go.
All right, bud.
So we'll record later on. See you later, bud.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.